What's up, everybody? This is Tim from Arm Wrestling Secrets, and in this video, I want to talk about why speed is critical for arm wrestling success.
We'll be safe enough once we make the jump to hyperspace.
You kidding? They're right there gaining?
Traveling through hyperspace ain't like dusting crops, boy.
Okay, guys, let's get right into it. Okay, speed. Okay, now this is something we maybe don't consider very often. We're so focused on all of the different strengths, going to the table, working on your hook, working on your top roll, okay? Working on all the different strength training. When was the last time you worried or considered your speed specifically? Okay, now I've touched on this a few times in the past. I'm touching on it again. This is for all of you, no matter where you are in your arm wrestling career. I want you to come back and I want you to think about one thing right now. Speed, okay? Fast, okay? This is what I want you to think about. Now remember, as I always say on my video, this channel is totally designed for competitive arm wrestling, okay? Not arm wrestling in the garage, okay? Where you're like, okay, ready? Okay, go, okay? That is not a competition start. That is not building good habits for tournament competition. Tournament competition, and most of you guys who've been to tournament competition, especially you guys who went for the first time, you find out something about tournament competition. How fast did some of those matches happen? How fast did some of them start, okay? A lot of them are on the verge of false starts, aren't they, right? Okay, come right back to where we were. Okay, starting speed. Okay, so obviously in arm wrestling, when you go to a competition, everyone wants to win. That includes you, okay? Now, a lot of times we're focused all the time, especially in our training, we're focusing on building strength, we're focusing on building technique, we're focusing on angles of attack, right? A little leverage here, a little more pronation there, a little more rising, right? All that kind of stuff. There's so many factors that go into it, but what about your speed? What about how fast you apply the movement, okay? Now, it's very rare that you're going to be the strongest person at the arm wrestling tournament. If you are, yeah, it's pretty lucky, okay? If you're like the strongest guy all the time, okay? That's a pretty nice situation to be in arm wrestling, but most of us, you're not. And here's another thing I want to tell you guys. As you move up in arm wrestling, the less likely you are to be the strongest guy at the tournament, okay? That's why speed is critical for your success. Look, if you're not the strongest person, if your opponent is stronger than you, then where are your advantages? Like, for instance, if you were always stronger than your opponent, we wouldn't be having this conversation, would we? I probably wouldn't even be making this channel. What would be the point? Arm wrestling technique is designed to overcome strength insufficiencies. Okay, so when you're not strong enough to beat someone on just brute strength, matching them move for move, the idea is to put them into a technically deficient position, biomechanically deficient position, and to beat them on leverage and brains. Okay, so when I want you to think about your speed, I want you to also consider that part of your plan. Okay, remember, arm wrestling is a thinking man's sport. It's not a brute, savage sport like a lot of people probably think. I think when they see two people arm wrestling at a table, they just assume it's just two guys going rah, and just pulling as hard as they can, and one person wins and one loses. Whoever's stronger wins. That's what a lot of people think about arm wrestling. Okay, you need to be a lot smarter than that, okay? What is the point of going over all the different tactics and moves and techniques and all of the little angles, okay? If you're not stronger than your opponent and he knows as much as you do, none of that stuff matters very much, does it? Okay? Okay? Now, if the guy you're taking on is really strong, but he doesn't really know all the little moves, then you have a huge advantage, okay? You have a huge technical advantage. And that's what I said, like I said about Schoolboy, is you see a lot of his muscles, they didn't appear to be as strong, but the guys, like those big muscular guys that he was beating in the video I made the other day on pronation, okay? They weren't technically sound though, but when you're getting into arm wrestling, you're taking on people that are not only strong, they know what they're doing. You're not going to trick them with some of the moves that you're doing, okay? And that's where speed starts to come in, okay? So speed plays such a huge factor because what the whole point that I make in the video is so you can start thinking about how to get yourself in a winning position before your opponent. And that's a big part of arm wrestling success. It just is, okay? It's not like in your training in the garage or you're training with friends. Usually, there isn't somebody giving you a competition start. Second, when you're training at the table with friends, it's not the same intensity, okay? It's not the same intensity. And so with the competition, a lot of times people, especially when you're a beginner, you get really surprised by the way the match starts. I mean, it's a little bit of a shock how quick the matches start and how quick you can be put out of position. And all of the training and all of the practice time and all the strength training you did ends up being useless because if you end up losing all your matches, right? And that's not what you want. This whole point of this channel is to avoid that and start putting more wins in your win column, okay? Putting more trophies in your hands. Okay, so when we're looking at fast starting in competition, this is what I want you to start thinking about, okay? Before the competition, I want you to just think about this, okay? What if you focused on starting faster than your opponent all the time, okay? So next time you go to your training club, for instance, I want you to think about something, okay? Everything else is the same, okay? You're not stronger. You don't have better technique, okay? I want you to try to be faster, okay? Focus on something like pretend your life depended on the start, especially at a competition, okay? If you go up to the start and you're thinking, no matter what, I got to get myself in a position where the second I hit go, I'm going to attack and I'm going to put myself in an advantage position and put the other person at a disadvantage. If you don't have that in your mind when you're going up there, you won't do it, okay? You need to start developing a habit of speed, okay? Everything else is the same. You're as strong as you can be. Your technique is as good as you can get it, okay? Your positioning before the match is as good as you can get it. Your grip is as good as you can get it. You can't change any of those things once you get to the table. You can't suddenly get stronger. You can't suddenly have better technique, right? But with speed, it's something you can actually focus on and change the course of the match a little bit. If you're going in thinking, I'm going to start faster than anybody, a lot of people aren't thinking that. They're just like, okay, I'm going to do my top roll. I'm going to go for my hook, okay? How fast are you going to go for that move? If you're up there and you're just flying into your move, assuming you've put yourself in a correct position to do that move biomechanically on your opponent, and you do it faster than him, now think about that. The match starts fair. You're both in the same position. Within the blink of an eye, and we've all been in this position, in the blink of an eye, you can suddenly be in a really bad defensive position, or you can suddenly be all the way to the pad. Now that all happened fast, and it happened because of speed. It happened because of reaction time. So if you're like me and you're like just about everyone else on arm wrestling and you're not the strongest guy at the tournament, the best way to start even in the odds, besides being good at your technique, obviously, like I said, the way to overcome strength deficiencies is by brilliant technique. It's a thinking man's sport. You need good technique. But when you take it further than that, sometimes technique is not enough when you don't have the strength. That's when you add speed. Speed, technique, strength, all together becomes a deadly combination, okay? So next time you're at your training club, next time you're at your tournament specifically, focus on being lightning fast. Focus on light speed. Focus on being as fast as you can humanly get into your position, and you're gonna see what a huge difference it makes on the table. I'll see you guys in the next one.